Hello, my wonderful friends. My name is Katie. Today we are going to talk all about the wonderful app that is Storygraph. You guys know, or at least most of you know, that I love Storygraph. I've been talking about it for a very, very long time. In my opinion, it is the top and superior competitor to Goodreads. If you are looking for a way to track your reading and you enjoy supporting women-owned businesses, you enjoy looking at statistics, you enjoy an app that has lots of fun features to make it interactive for you and your friends, Storygraph is really where it's at. And Storygraph continues to grow and improve. And I'm just constantly blown away by the team and just by the overall app in general. But I do understand that as somebody who has used Goodreads for a very, very long time, it can be overwhelming to get started. There's a lot of information and it's like learning a completely new skill, right? Completely worth it though, in my opinion. So I decided to make this video. I have already kind of recorded this before, but I'm learning how to do this like screen capture thing. So bear with me. I'm going to do my best to answer all of the questions that I think are really important for people who are new to Storygraph, but then also, for people just kind of getting started as well. Like maybe you've been using it for a couple months, but you still don't know everything that there is. Let's be honest. I've been using it for a couple years. I still don't know everything there is. But if I miss something in this, please comment below. Let me know if there's another question you have, and I can always do a part 2. My goal is that there's going to be timestamps so you can move around and look at the different areas depending on what questions you might have about Storygraph. So how we're going to get started is I'm just going to honestly show you my page. Now, this is on my desktop. I do love using Storygraph on my desktop just because I'm streaming a lot. And so I love to pull it up. I love to track things here. But for the most part, it is very similar on your phone. A lot of the functions are the same. It just might look just a little bit different. If anybody needs any help with me going through things on the phone specifically, I can also make a video with that. So just let me know if the interest is there and I will absolutely do it. But basically, when you first sign in, it's going to look a little bit something like this. If you haven't added a book that you are currently reading, this will be empty. But currently, this is what I am reading right now. And you can see the progress bar. It's very easy to do this as well. So let's show you a book. Let's add a book. So let me think. What book is a book I'm going to read today? Ooh, okay, perfect. I know exactly what I'm going to read. So you can search up here. I'm going to be looking for Ashes of You by Catherine Cowles. So you will click on it. Here you will see a lot of the information about the book. You will see the title, you'll see the series, which you can click on, and then you can scroll down and see the series. Here you'll see the author, which you can click on, and you'll be able to learn more about the author and their books. And then here you have the pages. When it was first published, you can click on that. It'll give you that more information right here. And then you can also click on it again to hide it. Here's a very important thing. So let's say you want to double check the edition you're reading. You're going to click, I'm just going to show you that again. Click right here on the editions and you're going to look. Okay, so this one says it's digital. And then here you have the audiobook, the digital as well, and another digital. So what I do when I'm looking at this is I will look usually for the first one, depending. So let's say I want a digital, which I do. So this one is digital, so that's totally fine. So then I will mark this. You will go over here and you will mark currently reading. Okay. If you've already started reading it, you can track your progress. And what that means is you'll click here. You can enter in how many pages you've read or what percentage you're at, and you can save that here. You can also add a note and edit your date. And what that means, you'll click in here. You're adding the day. Make sure this is correct because this is how it's going to track it. You'll say how far you are, and then you can write a note. And this can be anything, a quote you want to save, a scene you really enjoyed, or something you just want to remember later. But we don't have any progress yet. I haven't started reading it yet. You can always change this too. Let's say you change your mind and you're like, wait, I actually am not reading this right now. Then you can save it as either you read it, you're going to add this to read, which means that you want to read it. You did not finish it. And if you do not finish it, I'll show you guys. If you do not finish, you can add an explanation. So they want to know how far did you get in the book and why didn't you finish it? So you can do that. And then you can also remove the book. We are going to keep it as currently reading because I will be reading this book. Here you can mark it as owned, and that means it is a book that you own, whether or not you have it in your Kindle, or if you have it on your shelves, or if you have the audiobook, you can mark it as owned. and that will then show up in your own books. And then obviously here is a button you can use to buy. Here you might notice something. So here you'll see these two tags. These are the tag section. These two tags are in green, which means those are Storygraph generated essentially. Here, this right here in orange means that it's a tag I've created. So you can create your own tags right here by using this mark. And then also another thing I want to do is I want to say that this is an arc because it is. And then I'll update that and it'll show up here. And this is important because you can track your tags in your statistics. So that's how you add a book to your currently reading. And that's also how you can search for different editions. So if we go back to the main screen, Ashes of You is now here. As you can see, there is no way to edit it on the main screen right here because I haven't started. But once you add a progress bar, that'll show up here. But another thing I can show you guys, because I did do this, so when you click on all of them, when you read multiple books like I do, what you can do, so I did finish this morning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to mark as finished, click OK, and then you can add your review if you want to, or you can save it for later. I am going to save it for later because I like to sit and think about the books for a little bit before I give them a review, but that'll be done. But then just to give you a quick overview before we head into the statistics, what you will see now when you scroll down is your to read pile, your recommendations, and your giveaways. And then there's also popular this week. I don't spend a ton of time in here mostly because my TBR is never ending, but those would be some fun things if you guys are looking for more books. I think a very important question that a lot of people have is how to import your Goodreads library. So what you're going to do is you're going to click here on your icon. You're going to go to manage account. Here you'll have your email and then your username. Your username you're going to want to make sure is something easy that people can search. So if you already have a username that you use kind of across platforms, I would recommend using that. Then you have here where you can change your profile picture. This is where you will upload your file. I am signed up to their newsletter and I am interested in beta testing. Another important part that you will want to pay attention to is your privacy level for your profile. I am community, and what that means is there are 3 different levels. Public means anyone can view your profile, and that means they don't have to have a Storygraph account. I personally want the people to view my profile to be people who are already on Storygraph. And then private means that the only people who would get to see your profile are people who are already your Storygraph friends. Then you can change your password if you need to. I am part of the Plus subscription. You do not have to be. Personally, I think the basic just free Storygraph is more than enough. It's wonderful. But I'm very interested in supporting Storygraph and helping them grow. And they do have a few additional features that you have when you are part of the Plus plan. And then here is what you are looking for. This is the Goodreads import. And so the important thing to note is that this step is really considered as a one-time onboarding step. So if you do this multiple times, if you import your Goodreads data more than once, you are going to risk the chance of having duplicates, of really messing up all of your stats. It'll be a nightmare. So I recommend only doing it one time, only once. And then what you'll do is you'll click here. And this will really give you a step-by-step of what you're going to do. So this here will take you, if you click it, it'll take you here to where you can export your Goodreads library. And you're going to want to click this. It's going to take a while, so just bear in mind this step does take time. And then you will click here and you're going to click on that file then. That is the Goodreads export. The data file that is that export, to select it here, and then you'll click import my Goodreads library, and then you wait and they'll send you an email when it should be up and good to go. But sometimes, especially depending on the size of your Goodreads library, this can take quite a long time. So just know that you're going to need a little bit of patience there. If you need to export your Storygraph library, you can do that here. You can also delete your to read pile, your own books, your books, reviews, and tags. So like if you wanted to completely start over, you can 1000% do that. But keep in mind, it does say that you can't change this. So if you do this, that's it. And then here you also are able to delete your account. But once you delete it, you cannot get it back. So I would not recommend that. So that's in your manage account. So then if we go to your profile, this is what your profile is going to look like. So it will show you the books that you're reading, and it'll show you this little rundown. So for me, I mainly read fiction books that are emotional, lighthearted, and funny. And I typically choose books that are medium paced, that are 300 to 499 pages long. You can click on stats. You can click on your reading preferences. Here you'll have books you've recently read, books on your to read pile, my recent, well, not even my recent, but like my 5-star reads that I put there. You have your owned books section. Here are a lot of my tags. You'll notice them. So here is for Brittany and Kelsey's book club. We have NetGalley. John, who's one of my subscribers, if he tells me to read a book, I have a tag for him. And then here you will have challenges. There's another section that talks about challenges too, so I'm going to only very briefly discuss it right here. Here you will have your reading goal, right? And so I did choose 150 books, but you can choose whatever you would like. And so it'll let you know if you're ahead, if you're behind, if you're on track. Then we have my page goal and we have my hour goal. And you can edit all of these. You do not have to stick with these goals at all. And then this is getting more into other important like things that are best discussed in the reading challenges. So we will get into that. But first we're going to go to my favorite section, and that is the statistics. So here you'll be able to see, again, kind of the similar things you saw on your profile. Then we're going to get into a few differences. Here you can see all the different things that they have stats on. So for my books, here are the moods I have. You can also hover over and it'll let you know how many books that is. Then we have pacing, and the same thing applies. You can hover over. So I've read 6 that are medium. As you can tell, majority of my books are fast. Then we have page number, audiobook length, whether it's fiction or nonfiction. I have not read a nonfiction book yet this year, but I will. Your genres, it will let you know how many you've read of each. And then here's what we talked about with the tags. So I like to track probably too many things. But so for Buddy Reads, I've read 6 so far, which is actually not true. I need to update this tag. But it'll let you know the value. And so if that's something you want to do, something you're interested in analyzing just a few more things, the tags are a great way to do that. Here you'll see your format. As you can tell this year, it's so weird. Last year I read primarily in print, but this year is my Kindle year. I feel it. Here to let you know your most read authors. This auto-generates, so the more you read authors. This is why the tracking information, like when you read books, when you're entering your start and your end date are so important, because all of the statistics factor on that data. It'll let you know the languages. So far all of my books are in English. Here to let you know the number of pages and minutes that you've done. Obviously all of them are in January. I haven't really tracked a bunch in February yet because we're only on day 2. Here, it'll let you know your average rating. And again, this only generates accurately if you're leaving reviews and you're actually leaving star ratings. I haven't completely done that for all of my books yet. So that is the statistics page. It's one of my absolute favorites, if I'm being honest. Next, we're going to go into reading challenges. And so here, what you can do is you can actually browse, because when you first get started, you're only going to have these challenges, which are the challenges you create yourself. And that is your reading goal, your pages goal, and your hours goal. So then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to browse. And there are all these different sections. Storygraph's challenges are going to be up first. But basically what a challenge is it is a way for you to kind of have more fun with your reading, in my opinion. So let's say we wanted to do a genre. So let's see. Here you would just kind of go through. So like if, let's say you're not a big romance reader, what you would do is you would click on here. This is hosted by this user, and it says give romance a chance. So it starts February 1st and it ends February 28th. So you can join, and there's no pressure. Nothing happens if you join and you don't do anything. But here's the description. It says, romance has been a difficult genre for me to get into, so I'm trying several flavors to see if I can find what I like. We're going to go to historical romance, maybe. Ooh, let's go to romantasy. So this is one of the book prompts, and what you'll do is you'll click here, and if people have already started reading for this prompt and they've added books to it, you can actually just add it. So that's what, so like you can look at these and you can say, oh, I actually want to read that. So read. Or you can add it to want to read. So that way you know that it's for that prompt. And then once you have read it, you can add it to your prompt. But because I'm not, you have to join. So let's join. So we join the challenge. So then we're going to go back to romantasy, and you'll see now that you have this button here. And this button is how you add it to your prompt, saying you read it. You read this book for that prompt. So let's say, let's just do this, right? Let's just do Iron Flame. So you want to use this book for this prompt, and I do. So then when you go back, you have to refresh. Iron Flame is now there, and it says that I've added it to that prompt. So then it'll show you your progress. Granted, I haven't read that book this year, so you want it to be where you read it in that time frame. It's not going to show progress because I didn't. But that's how that would work. My friend Coda, I believe, did have a question about whether or not you can create your own reading challenges, and you can. So here, if you click on reading challenges and you go to browse and you click create new, what you can do is, so you essentially can create it all. So the title of your reading challenge, your description, your start and your end date, the number of prompts that you have, the description, any notes that you have, whether or not there are bonus prompts. So bonus prompts don't have to be attempted in order for people to complete the challenge. So it just means that would be like, let's say you're doing a TBR prompt and you would say, oh, for a bonus prompt, like do a reread. You know, something that they don't have to do, but they could do for fun, and you can add more prompts. Here it says make challenge live. So this is part of Coda's question. Can you have private challenges? Yes, you can. So making a challenge live, you do need to click before anyone can use it. So you're going to need to click this in order for it to even exist, if that makes sense. But then here, making a challenge public, you do not have to do that. So you can not click that, and then it'll be something only you can do, if that makes sense. So I did do some research, and I do now understand. I had to take a minute. But what I do know is, so when you create your reading challenge, it is not technically considered public, but it's also not considered private. So what this means is, so the YouTube test that we created, it is live so that we are able to add books to it and things like that, but it is not public. So what that means is people who are in this category, who are browsing for challenges, they will not be able to find it. It will not be searchable. Your friends will not be able to search it. Nothing like that will happen, but you are still able to then invite people to that challenge. Only people that have like a direct link that you send to them will be able to do that. So hopefully, Coda, hopefully that answers your question. Then we will go over to the community tab. This is where you're going to have all of your friends, where you're going to get to see updates, see what people are reading. You can like it. It's sad that we can't comment on it yet, but hopefully that'll be something that comes in the future. Here you can click on people you follow. Obviously this is me, and you'll see my little update. And then, yes, so this, you'll get to see all those things. If you scroll down, you can see more, you can see similar users. Here's where you're going to find your buddy reads and your read-alongs, okay? So for buddy reads, you can click in here. These are some of the buddy reads that I have done in the past. Not a bunch, not a bunch. And then here are the read-alongs that I have done. So we currently have 3 that are ongoing. We have The Sea of Monsters, Jade City, and 11/22/63. And I will show you guys how to set your own up. But essentially the information that's important is to have your start date, your end date. And then there are also other live readathons that are read-alongs that are happening that you can click on and you can search through and you can join. And then it'll show your past read-alongs as well. So to start a new read-along, what you're going to do is, let's say I wanted to do it for House of Flame and Shadow, which I should have. What a missed opportunity there. So you're going to choose the book that you want. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go down here to this like little 3 dots. You're going to click here. You have options to mark as finished, view your journal entries, and add to a reading challenge. Adding to a reading challenge means adding it to one of your Storygraph challenges. So here you'll see, look at YouTube test is right there, and all of the other challenges that I'm a part of. So you can do that. You can mark as owned, you can buy, but here is where you're going to see these 2 features. So we will look into the differences. So if you want to start a buddy read, what will happen is it'll take you to this page, and then you can write the description of your buddy read. You can invite your friends, If they don't show up here, what you'll do is you'll search. And so for an example, I will use my friend Christina, and she is K774. So you would click on them, and then it'll show up like that. And you can add up to 14 people in a buddy read. You'll have your end date, and then you will click create, and then that buddy read will exist. If you wanted to do a read along, you're going to click start a read along. You'll do the description. It's very similar. You will notice you'll have your start date, your end date, and whether or not you want to make it public. I'm going to show you in one of my read alongs already what it kind of looks like, so I don't have to make a whole new one. Let's go into 11/22/63. So this one just started yesterday. We have 39 people participating in this one. You'll see how many people, like percentage-wise, have completed the book, the average progress through the book, and the average rating for when they're done. Here, if you click view all, you'll be able to see all the members who are in the read-along. Here, so then this is empty normally. When you start a new read-along, there are none of these threads. It is completely empty. I added introduce yourself and then the breakdowns. So creating a thread or a forum is very easy. You're just going to click a new forum, what you want the title to be. So I've always done like introduce yourself or separated by chapters. You can have a target date in your read along when you would like readers to be at that specific point. You can have a description and you can lock it. So you can have it where people will only get to unlock this forum when they get to a certain part in the book. So for example, if you want to lock chapter 5, you would have to put the page number then or the percentage to chapter 5. So once the readers get to chapter 5, then chapter 5's forum would open up and they'd have access to that. So those are the read-alongs. I do know that Storygraph is planning to do book clubs. They're coming soon, but they do not exist yet. So then we have the giveaway section. I don't spend too much time in here, but you absolutely can if you want to. It is still under beta testing, so it is not a full, like, fleshed out feature yet, but there are several people who have won. So let's say we wanted to see what you do to me, right? Let's say this is the book we wanted. And you can see here that it's hosted by Rochelle Weinstein, which is the author. You'll see the information about, these are the moods of the book, this is the pacing, and this is the overall genre. You'll see how many there are. So it looks like you can win 10 copies in print. So there will be 10 winners, and it is available in the United States. So we'll view the giveaway. You can add to read, and then you can enter the giveaway if you're interested. So that's how it works. It's very similar in that aspect to Goodreads. But otherwise, I'm trying to think. Oh, this is very important. This is very important, you guys. Preferences makes a difference. For a while there, my time zone was set to the wrong time zone. And so all of my data was messed up. So make sure you are in the correct time zone. And then you can have different themes. So whether or not you want it to be dark or light or system. You can add additional languages. I do have the Storygraph Preview on. This is not a paid feature. This is a feature available to everyone. You can turn this off if you don't want to have it. And what that means, I will show you. So what they mean about that is if you click on House of Flame and Shadow, here is the Storygraph Preview right here. It gives you kind of like a little summary of the blurb, if that makes sense. So I have that on. I personally like it. And then tracking, you can change these things whether or not you want your audiobook tracking to be in pages or minutes. I personally like the minutes. You can choose your default format. So this means basically, this is used to set the format in your stats for books that don't have one specified yet. For best results, make sure that you look for the correct edition. So if you do not select an edition, this is the auto-populated one, essentially. Here is a streak feature that you can use. I do not use it mostly because it makes me competitive. And I try to make sure that reading is a healthy space for me. But what this means is it'll track the same thing like with your Kindle. If you read on Kindle Unlimited, it will track your reading streak. This is the same thing. But I don't track on Storygraph every single day. And so that just made it not fun for me. But if you like to make things into a game, if you like to see that like streak completed every single day, if that would motivate you, you can absolutely turn that on. Here you have your recommendations and it says, tell us your favorite genres, characteristics you love in books, content you want to avoid, and more to get into high quality recommendations. So we can see my review preferences if you want. So these are the genres that I've chosen, the different books I've liked and things like that. And I didn't choose anything to avoid or dislike topics at this point. Then we have community. This is so important because this has happened a lot when people create their story graph. They don't go into their preferences, and so people can't actually add them as a friend. They can only follow them, which is different. So for following, who can follow you and see your reading updates in your news feed? I said anybody, but you can change this to people you follow or to just friends. But if you want people to be able to send you a friend request, you have to have it set to anybody. You have to. Or you could have it set to people I follow. But realistically, if you want people to be able to find you, I would choose anybody. And the same thing with buddy reads. You have to make sure that you have it set so that either your friends, nobody, people and friends I follow, or anybody can send you an invite. Otherwise, what will happen is that you won't be able to be included and you're going to be like, why can't they tag me? This is why. And then also, who can view your owned books? Currently, I have this set to nobody, mostly because, let's be honest, my owned books are not complete right now. I'm working on that video eventually. So once it is done, I will probably have this available for my friends to see, because why not? So that is all of your preferences. I personally think it's a very overlooked section in Storygraph, but it is very important. Something we can also talk about is you can see over here when you look at a book, the people you follow who have read this book. So 8 people that I followed have interacted with this book. You can see their reviews and you can see kind of the other activity. Here you can see a summary of the reviews and the moods and things like that. Because, oh, I didn't even talk about that. We should do that. And then also there are content warnings. But let's get into a review. So we just finished, what was it? Let's go back to stats. Here you can click and you can see the books that you've read, just so you guys know. Let's go to add a review so you guys can see what it looks like. So when you're reviewing here on Storygraph, it's a little bit different. They're going to ask you about the mood. So you guys get to help choose what you think the mood of the book was. How is the pacing? Is this book mainly plot or character driven? And they have a plethora of answers for you. The same thing here for these different questions. So they do make it a little bit more in depth. Storygraph does have it where you can do quarter ratings. And then anything else you want to add. And this is where I usually just copy and paste my reviews from other places, and I will put it in here. There is the spoiler feature. Please feel free to use this. It is important if you need to help others to find similar books. What would you say are the main themes? And you can put that here and separate them. And then if you want to list any content warnings, you get to do that here to help other people, other readers. But I also forgot, so let's talk about this. So when you are in your stats, you can click on these here and you can look, let's say you want to see the books that you read in February. Well, I only read Promise Me This in February, but in January, you can see all these books, right? You can also filter this way by pages, published date, by title, by authors, by earliest read. You can search your books here. You can change the year. You can add other filters like in terms of mood. So there is just, the sky's the limit, to be honest. You can also look at your DNF books. I have, a few. But anyways, guys, that is at least the first part of our Storygraph overview. I really hope this was helpful for you guys. But again, if I missed something and you would like to see a part 2, please just let me know. If you also are interested in potentially having me record this where you can see it in the mobile version, I can also do that as well. For the most part, they are very similar, so there shouldn't be too much change. If you're interested in doing a buddy read or a read along, please let me know. I would love to do that with you. And also, if you're looking for Storygraph friends, please consider dropping your username in the description below. I would love to be friends, or feel free to send me a friend request as well. And I will see you guys all in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye.